alarm started as a soft beep. Then it became louder. Then it became a screaming wail that made Senior Monitor Vexala jump from her chair. She had been watching the sensor screens for 12 hours straight. Nothing ever happened at Sentinel-7. The monitoring station floated at the edge of explored space where the Caltheron Empire's territory ended and the empty void began. For 20 years, Vexala had sat in this chair, watching dots on screens that represented asteroids, comets, and the occasional piece of space debris. Nothing interesting. Nothing dangerous. Nothing unknown. Until now. Her six-fingered hands moved across the control panel, trying to silence the alarm. The screen in front of her showed something that should not exist. A contact, a vessel, moving faster than anything she had ever seen. "Computer, run diagnostic," she said, her voice steady despite the fear creeping up her spine. The computer's calm voice responded, all systems functioning normally. No errors detected. Vexala's throat went dry. She ran the scan again. The contact was still there, still moving, still impossible. She checked the speed reading 3 times. The vessel was traveling at 0.97 light speed. Nothing in the known galaxy could move that fast. The Empire's fastest military ships could barely reach 0.4 light speed. And that was with experimental engines that tended to explode. But speed was not the strangest part. The contact had no signature. Every vessel in the galaxy left traces. Energy emissions from engines, heat from life support systems, electromagnetic signals from navigation equipment. Every spacefaring civilization in the Empire's database had a unique fingerprint that sensors could detect and identify. This vessel had nothing. No energy type matched the Imperial databases. No heat signature matched any known propulsion system. No signals on any frequency they monitored. It was like the ship was made of ghost matter, barely existing in normal space. Vexala opened the communication channel. Sentinel-7 to unknown vessel. You are entering Caltheron Empire space. Identify yourself immediately. Silence. She tried again, broadcasting on all frequencies. Unknown vessel, this is Sentinel-7 monitoring station. Please respond and transmit your identification codes. Still nothing. Her hands trembled as she reached for the emergency communication button. She had never used it before. In 20 years, there had never been an emergency worth reporting to Imperial Command. This is Sentinel-7, she said when the channel opened. I need to speak with someone in Fleet Command immediately. The face that appeared on her screen belonged to a young officer who looked bored. Sentinel-7, this channel is for actual emergencies only. If you have a maintenance issue, I have detected an unknown vessel, Vexala interrupted. It is traveling at near light speed with no identifiable signature and is not responding to hails. The officer's bored expression changed to something like amusement. Senior Monitor, your sensors are probably malfunctioning. Run a full diagnostic and... I already ran diagnostics twice, Vexala said, her patience wearing thin. All systems are functioning normally. The contact is real. The officer sighed. Fine, send me your sensor data and I will have someone look at it. Vexala transmitted the data and waited. She watched the contact on her screen. It had not changed course. It had not slowed down. It was heading directly toward the Empire's core worlds like an arrow flying toward a target. 10 minutes later, her communication panel lit up again. This time, the face on the screen belonged to someone much more senior. Commander Zeltok, if she remembered correctly. He did not look amused. Sentinel-7, we need you to confirm your readings, he said. 2 other monitoring stations are now reporting the same contact. Vexala felt her stomach drop. 2 others? Which ones? Sentinel-4 and Sentinel-9. The object is moving through our sensor network at incredible speed. We are tracking it on multiple stations now. Then you believe me, Vexala said. We believe something is out there. Commander Zeltok replied, but we do not know what it is. Keep monitoring and report any changes immediately. The communication ended. Vexala turned back to her screens and began recording everything. If this was going to be a historical moment, she wanted accurate records. 3 hours later, the situation had escalated beyond anything Vexala could have imagined. Fleet Admiral Theron himself was now involved. His image appeared on screens across the monitoring network, addressing all stations simultaneously. Vexala had never seen the Admiral before. He was an imposing figure with silver scales covering his face and military decorations covering his uniform. He had commanded fleets in 3 wars and never lost a battle. "All monitoring stations, this is Fleet Admiral Theron," he said. His voice was deep and confident. "We are now tracking an unidentified vessel entering our territory. This vessel has ignored all attempts at communication and shows no signs of slowing down. I am mobilizing the 3rd Border Legion to intercept. All stations maintain constant surveillance and report directly to me with any changes." The transmission ended. Vexala watched her screen and saw new contacts appearing. Imperial warships were launching from nearby military bases. Within an hour, there were dozens of military vessels converging on projected intercept points. She calculated the unknown vessel's trajectory. At its current speed and heading, it would reach the Empire's core worlds in 14 standard cycles. 14 days. For the first time in 10,000 years, something was approaching the heart of the Caltheron Empire without permission, without identification, and without fear. In the Imperial Palace on Caltherox Prime, Chancellor Morn sat in an emergency council meeting. Around the table sat military commanders, intelligence directors, and scientific advisors. Everyone was talking at once. "It must be a probe from an undiscovered civilization," one scientist suggested. "Or a weapon," a military commander countered. "An attack could be imminent. We should destroy it before it gets closer," another commander said. Chancellor Morn raised one hand for silence. The room quieted immediately. "What do we actually know?" Morn asked. The head of Imperial Intelligence stood. "Very little, Chancellor. The object is traveling at near light speed. It has no identifiable energy signature. It does not respond to communication. And most concerning, it is heading directly toward our core worlds on a perfectly straight course." "What does that last part mean?" Morn asked. "It means the vessel knows exactly where it is going," the intelligence director said. "It has not made a single course correction since we first detected it. Either it has incredibly accurate navigation, or it has been to this region of space before." "That is impossible," Fleet Admiral Theron said. "We have cataloged every spacefaring species in this sector for the past 10,000 years. There is nothing we do not know about." "Apparently, Admiral, there is something we do not know about," Morn replied quietly. The Chancellor stood and walked to a large window overlooking the capital city. Billions of beings lived on this world alone, trillions more across the Empire's thousands of planets. They all believed the Empire was invincible. They all believed the Empire knew everything worth knowing about the galaxy. That belief was about to be tested. "Admiral Theron," Morn said without turning around, "deploy your fleet, but do not fire unless fired upon. If this is first contact with a new civilization, I will not have it said that the Caltheron Empire shot first." "And if they are hostile?" Theron asked. "Then defend the Empire," Morn said. "But do not start a war out of fear of the unknown." Back on Sentinel-7, Vexala continued her watch. The unknown vessel maintained its impossible speed and perfect course. It was now less than 13 cycles from the core worlds. She wondered who they were, where they came from, what they wanted. Most of all, she wondered why they were not afraid of the most powerful empire in the known galaxy. The Imperial archives were cold and dusty. Ambassador Kael'thos walked through rows of data crystals that had not been touched in centuries. Most of them contained information about first contact protocols from thousands of years ago, back when the Empire was still discovering new civilizations instead of ruling them all. Kael'thos had been an ambassador for 40 years. In that time, he had negotiated trade agreements, settled border disputes, and welcomed 3 newly spacefaring species into the Empire's fold. But he had never conducted actual first contact with a completely unknown civilization. Nobody had, not for millennia. Found something, called Dr. Silren from across the archive room. The xenoarchaeologist was younger than Kael'thos, but had a reputation for finding answers in forgotten places. Kael'thos walked over to where Silren stood, holding an ancient data crystal up to the light. "What is it?" "First contact protocols from 9,000 years ago," Silren said. "Back when we still met new species regularly. There are procedures here for everything. Translation matrices, diplomatic approach patterns, gift exchange customs, even instructions for what to do if they are more advanced than us. And are they useful now?" Kael'thos asked. Silren set the crystal down carefully. "Maybe, but there is something else here. Something strange." She activated a holographic display. Ancient text appeared in the air, written in an old form of Caltheron that was barely readable. This section is marked as forbidden knowledge, Silren said. It talks about civilizations that went beyond. Beyond what? Beyond this region of space. Beyond normal physics. The text is fragmented. But it mentions species that achieved technology so advanced they simply left. Went somewhere else. The archive calls them the others. Keltos felt a chill despite the warm archive air. You think this vessel might be related to these others? I think we should not dismiss any possibility, Silren replied. Before Keltos could respond, his communication device chirped. It was Fleet Admiral Theron. Ambassador, your presence is required on the command ship immediately. We are moving to intercept the unknown vessel. The command ship Dominator was the largest vessel in the 3rd Border Legion. Its bridge was a massive room filled with screens, holographic displays, and dozens of officers monitoring every system. Keltos felt small standing there, surrounded by military might. Ambassador, Theron greeted him. We are approaching the unknown vessel's projected path. We will attempt to intercept in 6 hours. What do you expect to happen? Keltos asked. I expect them to stop when they see my fleet, Theron said confidently. We have 847 warships deployed in a blockade formation. No sane commander would try to pass through that. And if they are not sane? Keltos asked quietly. Theron did not answer. Keltos spent the next 6 hours preparing. He had a team of linguists ready with translation matrices that could handle 10,000 languages. He had cultural advisors who had studied every known civilization's customs. He had diplomatic gifts prepared, ranging from simple symbols of peace to valuable resources. He was ready for any kind of first contact scenario, except perhaps for being completely ignored. Contact in 30 seconds, an officer announced. The main screen showed the empty void of space ahead. Keltos held his breath. Around the Dominator, hundreds of warships waited in formation, their weapons powered but not aimed. A show of strength but not aggression. Contact in 10 seconds. Keltos saw it before the sensors announced it. A flash of light that resolved into a shape. The unknown vessel dropped out of faster-than-light travel and coasted through space at a mere fraction of light speed. For the first time, they could see it clearly. The ship was sleek and dark, its surface seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. It was smaller than Keltos expected, perhaps the size of a mid-range cargo vessel, but there was something about its shape, its presence, that spoke of incredible power being held in check. Hailing on all frequencies, the communication officer said. Keltos leaned forward. Unknown vessel, this is Ambassador Keltos of the Kaltheran Empire. We mean you no harm. Please identify yourself so we may speak peacefully. Silence. They tried every frequency, every communication method in the database. Radio waves, laser signals, quantum entanglement messaging, even ancient methods like light pulse patterns. The vessel did not respond. It simply continued forward, not fast but steady, moving through the fleet formation as if the warships were not even there. Ambassador, they are ignoring us, Theron said, his voice tight with frustration. Request permission to fire a warning shot across their bow. Keltos hesitated. A warning shot could be interpreted as an act of war, but letting the vessel simply pass through might show weakness. One warning shot only, Keltos agreed. Make it clear we are not trying to hit them. Theron gave the order. A beam of energy lanced out from one of the warships, passing a safe distance in front of the unknown vessel. The vessel did not slow down, did not change course, did not react at all. They are approaching the neutral zone boundary, an officer announced. If they cross, they will trigger the automated defense satellites. The neutral zone was a buffer region at the edge of Imperial space. Ancient defense satellites, thousands of years old but still functional, guarded it. Any unauthorized vessel that entered would be fired upon automatically. Recall the satellites, Keltos ordered. Shut them down before... Too late, Theron said. They just crossed the boundary. On the screen, Keltos watched as 3 defense satellites activated. They were old technology, primitive by modern standards, but still dangerous. They fired kinetic projectiles at incredible speeds, designed to punch through the hull of any vessel. The unknown ship did not try to dodge. The projectiles simply vanished before they reached it. No explosion, no impact. They just ceased to exist as if they had never been fired. Then the vessel did something that made every officer on the bridge freeze. It destroyed the satellites. Not with weapons. There were no energy beams, no missiles, nothing visible at all. The satellites simply came apart, their pieces drifting in space like someone had gently disassembled them. How did they do that? Theron whispered. Nobody had an answer. The vessel continued forward. It still had not changed course even slightly. Kelthos pulled up the navigation data and felt his blood run cold. "Admiral," he said slowly, "this ship has not made a single course correction since we first detected it." "What does that mean?" Theron asked. "It means they know exactly where they are going," Kelthos replied. "They have been here before, or they have incredibly detailed maps of our space. Either way, this is not random exploration." Dr. Silrin's voice came through on the communication channel. She had been monitoring from the science vessel. "Ambassador, I am reading the energy output from that vessel. It is orders of magnitude beyond anything in our technology. Whatever power source they are using, it is more advanced than our most experimental reactors by at least several hundred years." "Could you calculate where they are heading?" Kelthos asked. There was a pause while Silrin worked. Then her voice came back, quieter now. "Based on their current trajectory, they are heading for the outer mining colonies, specifically Colony 793. "Why would they want to go there?" Theron demanded. "There is nothing at that colony except mining operations and worker housing." "I do not know," Silrin admitted. "But they clearly have a specific destination in mind." Kelthos made a decision. "Admiral, have your fleet follow at a safe distance. Do not engage unless they show hostile intent. I want to see what they do when they reach the colony." "And if they attack the colony?" Theron asked. "Then you have my permission to defend it," Kelthos said. "But I do not think they came all this way just to attack a mining colony." "Then what do you think they want?" Theron asked. Kelthos watched the dark vessel on the screen, moving through space with purpose and confidence. "I think they want something very specific. And I think we are about to find out what." The unknown vessel continued toward Colony 793. Behind it, 847 warships followed like a school of fish trailing a shark. The fleet was supposed to be intimidating. Instead, they looked small and uncertain. In the Imperial Palace, Chancellor Morn received constant updates. Each report was more worrying than the last. The vessel could not be communicated with. It could not be stopped. It was heading toward an Imperial colony with clear purpose. And most worrying of all, it had technology that made the Empire's military might look like primitive weapons from a forgotten age. Morn stood at the window again, looking out at the capital city. Somewhere out in space, something was approaching that the Empire did not understand and could not control. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Kaltheran Empire was not the most powerful force in the room. The thought terrified Morn more than any war ever had. Colony 793 was not a beautiful place. It orbited a dead star, pulling minerals from asteroids that had once been planets. 20,000 workers lived there, most of them from the lower castes of the Empire. They worked long shifts in the mines, processing ore that would be sent to the core worlds to build ships and stations. Governor Ralseth received the emergency transmission with disbelief. An unknown vessel was approaching his colony. The entire 3rd Border Legion was following it. Fleet Admiral Theron himself was requesting that the colony prepare for possible evacuation. "This must be a drill," Ralseth said to his aide. "Nobody attacks mining colonies. There is nothing here worth attacking." "The Admiral seemed quite serious, Governor," the aide replied nervously. Ralseth looked out the window of his office at the ugly industrial landscape below. "Fine, send out an alert. Tell people to stay calm but be ready to move to emergency shelters if needed." 2 hours later, the unknown vessel arrived. It came out of faster-than-light travel and stopped, just stopped, hovering in space above the colony like it was examining something. The 847 warships of the 3rd Border Legion spread out around it, weapons powered and ready. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Theron watched the vessel with growing frustration. "It has been sitting there for 10 minutes, he said. "Not moving, not communicating, just sitting." Ambassador Kelthos was equally puzzled. "Maybe they are scanning the colony." "Scanning for what?" Theron demanded. Before anyone could answer, the communication systems across every ship in the fleet suddenly activated. Not with a voice transmission, with data, pure data, flooding into their systems faster than the computers could process. "What is happening?" Theron shouted over the alarms. "They are transmitting something," the communication officer said, hands flying over controls. "It is overwhelming our systems." Wait, the computers are